The lawsuit by Disney demands up to $150,000 for every single willful infringement. Now, let's say a court finds Midjourney infringe on just 2,000 of Disney's and Universal's thousands of characters and films. That's a $300 million penalty, which is exactly what the lawsuit says Midjourney's entire revenue was last year. First off, it's not just Disney. There's a whole host of studios involved, Disney being the prominent one. The case is against Midjourney, an AI company with revenues approaching $500 million in 2024. For comparison, Disney's revenue was over $90 billion. The complaint is for direct copyright infringement and secondary copyright infringement. They are also demanding a jury trial. I'll break that down, but first let's talk about the preliminary portions of the complaint. It's important. Basically, the preliminary portions boil down to Disney and Universal are good, Midjourney is bad. How are they good? They say in the complaint it's because they have, and I quote, delighted audiences by creating some of the greatest motion picture and fictional characters of all time. End quote. I don't think I need to tell you what characters they own, from Simba to Elsa to Darth Vader and the Marvel heroes. They even mention Shrek, the Minions, Hiccup, and Po from Kung Fu Panda. Now, what do they say about Midjourney? They call them a quintessential copyright free rider and a bottomless pit of plagiarism, quote unquote. They further add Midjourney's conduct, and it is important here, threatens to upend the bedrock incentives of US copyright law that drive American leadership in movies, television, and other creative arts. What does this mean? It basically means money. The idea is that these bedrock incentives, quote unquote, are the financial rewards that motivates creation. This idea directly comes from US Constitution Article 1 Section 8 Clause 8, which gives Congress the power to promote the progress of science and useful arts. The studios are framing their lawsuit around this constitutional bargain. They are arguing that their exclusive right, the ability to make money, is the fuel for promoting progress. They claim that by creating a system that bypasses this right, Midjourney isn't just taking their property, they're breaking the engine of American creativity itself. And that is a powerful story to tell to a jury. So, how exactly do the studios claim Midjourney broke the law? The core of the legal argument is that Midjourney systematically violated the bundle of exclusive rights, the rights granted to them by the US Copyright Act. It's a multi-layered accusation that covers Midjourney's entire operation, from training the model to the final output. The studios argue that Midjourney's very existence is founded on an act of massive copyright violation. They allege that to build its model, Midjourney made innumerable unauthorized copies of their works scraped from the internet. This isn't just about one image, it's about the wholesale copying of a significant portion of visual culture to train the AI. This is a direct violation of their exclusive right to reproduce, under Section 106, Clause 1. Second is the output infringement. This is where it becomes a compound problem. When a user generates an image, the studios claim Midjourney violates three more rights simultaneously. It creates an unauthorized derivative work. An image of Shrek driving a sports car is a new adaptation of their character, which only they have the right to create a license. It distributes an unauthorized copy of that work to the user who prompted it, and it publicly displays these infringing works to the world through its public Explore gallery, essentially using the studio's own intellectual property as a billboard to attract more subscribers. So, the accusation is an end-to-end indictment of the business model. The studios contend that Midjourney illegally reproduced their art to build the machine, and now the machine illegally creates and distributes derivative works and publicly displays them for profit. So the lawsuit really boils down to two main arguments. Two different ways the studios are saying Midjourney is legally responsible. The first is called direct infringement. The one's the most straightforward. It argues that Midjourney's AI is the one actually performing the illegal copying. You, the user, might type the words, but it's Midjourney system that generates the infringing image. The work is done on their server by their machine. But they also have a backup plan. The idea here is that even if a code decides the user is technically the one infringing, Midjourney is still liable because they are essential to the process. This breaks down into two specific claims. The first claim is for what is called vicarious infringement. And to prove this vicarious infringement, the studios have to show two things. First, that Midjourney has the right and ability to control its system. The complaint argues that Midjourney already proves it has the control. They block users for creating certain kinds of images, like those involving nudity. So the lawyers argue if they can control it for that, they have the ability to stop users from creating images of, say, Mickey Mouse or Spider-Man. They just choose not to. Second, they have to show Midjourney gets a direct financial benefit from the infringement. This one's pretty clear cut. The complaint points to Midjourney's paid subscription plans. People pay them money and in return they can create these images. The infringement is directly tied to their revenue. The other part of the backup plan is called contributory infringement. This also requires proving two things. First, that Midjourney had knowledge of the infringement. The lawsuit claims that the studio's lawyers already sent cease and desist letters, giving Midjourney direct official knowledge. Beyond that, they argue you just have to look at Midjourney's own Explore page, which is often filled with images based on famous copyrighted works, to see that the company is well aware of what's happening on its own platform. And second, that Midjourney made a material contribution to the infringement. The argument here is that by designing the service, training the AI on these copyrighted works in the first place, and then providing it to the public, Midjourney has provided the essential tool, the very engine that makes the infringement possible. Before I end this video, I would like to leave you with a legal paradox at the heart of artificial intelligence. Companies like Midjourney could be held financially responsible for every time their AI copies an artist's work. Yet, they are legally barred from owning any of the brilliant original art it also creates. The law, as it stands, effectively says you are liable for your tool's mistake, but you have no claim to its success. I suppose that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.